Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're going to look at BABA, Tesla, Facebook, Apple, and the IBB. We look at the daily, weekly, monthly time frames, and we use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. So let's get right into the daily chart. Holding support at the 95 area, and the reason why, if you go back to this pivot back in 522 of last year, there was a high pivot and then we broke down. So you're going to have a lot of support there that's helping this one stay buoyant. We had news, we had earnings, we had upgrades, we had everything. That's telling me somewhere in this area we got a lot of sellers in here because they were stuck back in the day and they're starting to dump. We still have a bullish pattern. We're above the MAs, a little bit stretched. Now we have a micro bear. If this 95 area or so cracks, I think we're going to go to the low here, right around 93.14. We're going to test the 618 as well, but let's see how this pattern plays out. We also have a gap here and a gap down there. So overall, it's going to be a market trade with the light volume going on, but the volume's starting to pick up, and the volume picks up in this one. We're going to get a little more selling. Weekly chart, same thing. You can see that pivot a little bit better from last year. Bust through this breakdown, gets right into this area, and you got to move back. Yeah, there's not a lot of data on this chart, but a lot of people who were stuck buying this thing up in this area, buying after this breakdown bar, you're going to get a lot of sellers in this area because they were stuck. They were stuck holding the bag since the 2015 up in this area. So you start getting into this, high pivot, this pivot up here, you're going to start getting some selling pressure. Again, moved up. Now we're starting to consolidate in a bullish manner, and this pivot is holding up at 95.16. Let's see if this one gives out. If this gives out, I think we're heading to this pivot area, right around 91.24, and I think we could continue down and get to this low of this bar, right around 85 bucks again. We're going to come right back into this $85 level, because honestly, this move here is a bit much for the stock. It's time for this one to come home. If the overall market sells, it will come down fast. And then on the overall time frame, on the monthly, on the bigger one, we're right into the 618 retrace. We maybe, if we get to 104.45, you have to short this one, period. That's if we can. On the monthly chart, I want to see a close above this pivot and above 96.11, and then possibly we could go up another 10 bucks into the 104.45 level. If we get into this area or anywhere into 105, 110, you have to short this thing definitely if you're not short already. If you're in a half position, quarter position, you have to add more into this area as well. You just have to. But again, we're waiting for the monthly close. Let's see if we can close above the 618. Then maybe bullish, maybe. We still got to wait for setup and see what we want to do. Let's go to Tesla, everyone's favorite car company. Let's see what happened today. We were down $2. Again, we're talking about this bearish pattern, down sideways. I'd love to see it go up a little bit more, but then, here we are. We're below the 20 MA. We were down $2. Slightly bearish. It's in a neutral stance, but if this area cracks around the 220.79 and we get below these two moving averages, we're going right down to the 208.27 area, and then possibly filling this gap, filling that gap, and possibly lower. We have a pretty good trend line down in here. We're going to have a great support around the 618, but like we talked about with BABA, if the SPY's selling or the Qs are selling, this one's going to even go lower. Everything will be a market trade eventually. On the weekly chart, we've talked about this thing trying to break out. Nice little reversal. We closed right on top of the 20 MA. Now we're heading down following the 20 MA. If we close below these moving averages and this 382 retrace, which is right around 218.52, I think we're heading down to gap fill, and then we're going to start heading lower on this one as well. My target maybe 188.54, and we're going to see how this thing reacts. But looking at this, let's throw the trend line on this side too. I'll put it right in there. You're going to have some good support again around 215, 216 area. But this, let me tell you, if we close below this inside bar, right now this one should start taking off, especially coming into this moving averages. If it does not bounce from here and starts moving lower, look out. For a bounce now, you got to get above this green inside bar for a close around 237. Then I think we could go to 240, then ultimately up into this area around 264. If it gets up into this area, short this thing, definitely. If you're not short here, short it up here. But if you're short here, just look for a close above this area, then we could possibly move higher. If we get below the MAs, this thing's going to go lower. Monthly chart. Monthly chart, we are below the 20 MA again. Not good. Popped up, never could get above the 618, boom, rejected. So now we're looking for a close below the 20, and I think we could start heading down again. But again, got to wait for pattern. This is decent, not the best. It's a little bit weak. Volume's light, but let's see if we can close below these moving averages. Then I think we're going to head down. Facebook. Scalped this one today. This was great. Got a little bit of change from this one. Reason why we did it, we had this big breakdown bar. We have a 618. Look at that. Kissed it. The high of the day was 83. Our level was right around 124.82. If you added anywhere up in here, you would have been okay. Use this high or even number, 125 as a stop out, and then wait for it to come up into this area. But that was epic. We took the short here today. They kind of chopped it around, shot it back up, and then boom, came right in. Couldn't ask for more. 60-minute chart, same thing. Big bar through all these resistance, came to this pivot high, came to this breakdown, 618. You knew it was coming in. Now we're setting up in a bearish manner. Inside bar, so it could go either way. I'll watch this thing. If it sets up sideways, we'll short this one again intraday. Let's go to the daily. Daily, trying to hold this 20 MA. Look at this. Everything's just holding around the 20 MA. The SPY, the Qs, everything. Just everything's pegged. Everything's robotic trading right now. They got these things pegged to certain areas where they're just going to chop around and go up and down. When real people come in and start to sell these markets, all these are coming in. I promise you. Every Facebook, Google, Amazon, they're all coming in, especially the high flyers like the NVIDIAs, the Altas. I don't even know. There's a bunch of them. I made a video with all the high flyers too. But again, rounded top. We're struggling in this area. Now we're starting to come in. This is a weekly chart, so now we're down and sideways. We're going to see the bullish, but a micro bearish pattern. Still have to let it play out. But if we close below the low of last week on this candle this week on Friday, then I think we're going to get a little more selling, at least into the 121.04. Then ultimately we're going to get down to the 118.26. There you might get a small bounce, but if this breaks, we're going right down into this area, people, and that's going to be it. And then maybe some support in there. We'll have to reevaluate if it does. Again, a little bit stretched on this chart. So far, a doji candle on the monthly. Again, we have to see. We got another week or so for this to close, and we'll reevaluate that. Let's look at Aapl. Aapl was a little bit weak today, nothing special. But we've been talking about, well, this has a little inside bar. You have a little bit of a topping tail. Nothing special. Still above the moving averages. Still staying buoyant. It was down 85 cents. But the real picture is right here. We got above the 50 MA, and we have this big trend line here. We're trying to recapture it, and so far I want to see it close, and I want to see us getting up into the 112 area, and then we're going to see how it reacts up here. If this thing reverses and gets below this trend line, I think we're heading down, as well as the markets are heading down as well. We keep making lower highs as we're chopping around here, so that's not a good sign either. You do have a slight W pattern here, where they could possibly, if we get above that area, we could make a run for the 120, maybe 121-ish area. And if you're not short Aapl, then this is where you want to short it. If you want to take a stab down in here, add a half position or quarter position, but be willing to add more as it moves up. These are tough markets right now. We got a lot of jicky-jacking around here. But Aapl monthly, I love this chart. Nice inside bar, retracing to the 20 MA. If you're short this one and we get above 112, you have to stop out and reshort around the 120 area. But if we can't get above this area on an inside bar, we're heading straight down from here. And this area is around 94, 95. If that cracks, we're going to 85. And ultimately, I think this thing could get back down to 50 bucks again, 54 bucks, if the overall markets start to dump as well. So everything at this point's a market trade. You saw the SPY going up and down, up and down. I mean, look at the SPY. I'm just going to do this real quick. Look at this. Look at this intraday action. This is insane. Up, down, up, down, up, down. It went up, we shorted, covered. Up here, shorted, covered. And then I think that was it for this, but we added a couple other ones, and we're going to stick to them. Tomorrow, I'm thinking a little more downside. We'll cover those, and we'll keep rinsing and repeating. Let's get right to the IBB. That was one too. We shorted right here on this pivot. Let's go back. Where is it? We had the breakdown bar. We had these pivots up in here. So this is where you have to take this trade. And plus right here as well. I should have put this a little bit lower. This isn't my original. I have other charts that I look at. But that's really the level. and then you have some more pivots up in here, you have to short this thing as it goes up. And of course we did, chopped around, everybody made fun of me, and then when it started pulling in, they were like, wow, great trade. But it was a great trade. 60-minute 2, we have a nice inside bar, but going up, a little bit bullish, but now you have a down, sideways, bearish pattern, and that's why we took the trade at the end of the day. Hopefully, we could get some more downside on this inside bar. If not, our stop out will be above the high of today, and then we'll redetermine and see what we want to do, or we'll add more. It's not a huge position, but on this breakdown bar up at the 297 area or so, we could add more at 297.96. But again, we'll see how the overall markets are when it opens up, and we'll reevaluate this trade as we go. But we came back in, just looking at the overall daily, weekly, monthly, just kind of chopping around doing nothing. We had a heck of a move from here. When this thing was moving up, we shorted, moved up, shorted, and now it's going up. We started adding new shorts at the 200 MA. We're starting to add more, I think, around the 294 area, 292 area, right in that area as well. We had a nice little pullback. But now we had the bullish, I don't know, I think it was Pfizer. Somebody did something, so we ended up popping up. We popped right back up into the 750 retrace. Let's see if we could get above that, which is 296.64, which is pretty much the high of the day as well. And let's see if we can stay above the 20 moving average, or do we come right back down and reverse. Weekly chart, had a feeling. We closed below the 50 MA. They popped it up. So right now, chopping around in a bullish pattern, but at the end of the week, we're going to see where this thing closes. If you want this thing to be bullish, we need to close above this high right here, which let's say 300. We need to close above the 300 area at the end of the week for this thing to continue up. But I'd still like to see more consolidations before it starts to move. If it keeps consolidating and this pattern fails, we're definitely going down, and we're going to go test the 240 area again. This thing will fall like a brick, I guarantee it. So at this point, that's it for today. Amazon was a little bit strong today. Google pulled back. McDonald's still being a turd. Gold didn't move up. Oh, and the USO. Let's look at the USO. That's one I wanted to cover as well. So we're adding shorts up here. We hit the 50 MA. We talked about it in our videos. We gapped down, and we closed below the 20 MA here. So I think we're heading down again on oil. But again, let's look at the daily. We had a nice doji on the daily, nice pullback. We still have some support. We have a lot of support here. We filled the gap today, so let's see how this thing reacts tomorrow. But I think we're going to pull back right back into the 382, and then ultimately I think we're getting back to possibly $10 again. If we do end up continuing down, I think we'll fill this gap right around 978, and then you could possibly be another buyer there for the upside. But depending on the overall markets, if the SPY starts to dump, this could possibly go lower. On the weekly, great play. Right into good resistance, 618, almost to the 750. Boom, gap down. But again, we're waiting for pattern. So this thing, has a mind of its own, and they're all bullish now on oil. So you know what happens when they're all bullish. We should get a nice pullback because everyone's chasing up here. They need a lot of buyers so they could dump in their face so it doesn't look as bad. Because if there's no buyers up here and they start selling, we would have been down another 3% today, no problem. The monthly chart, same thing. We had a bearish pattern, inside bar until we close above this area right around $12 or so, 11.78, or the top of this red bar. I still think we're heading down. So until that day comes, I'm still bearish on oil. All right, guys, that's six charts we looked at today. Thanks everybody for watching my videos. Hopefully I'm helping some people out there. These are tough markets right now, and the technicals, they're helping the way, but sometimes they're wrong. They're not always right. Again, everyone, thanks for watching. God bless. See you on the charts.